My name is Drew Land. Welcome to my vlog, Equipping You for a Meaningful Life. We are doing a money series, and today I answer the question, how can I save money? Okay, I've got a little bit of a trick question for you. Let's say you go to shop for a shirt and you find one that's normally 100 Rand, about $10. But it's on sale for 50 Rand, $5. So you buy the shirt. How much did you save? Now, if you thought you saved 50 Rand or $5, you're wrong. You spent 50 Rand. You did not save 50 Rand. So this might be why you're unable to save and spend well, because you don't yet know the difference. Spending is when the money actually leaves your hand. Saving is when it stays in your hand. Anytime money leaves your hand, you are spending it, you are not saving it. Let me give you 3 ways in which you can start saving money. The first is that you need to set a savings goal and live by it. Habakkuk 2:2 says this, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it." I remember there was this poster on my 3rd grade classroom wall, and it said, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. And that's true with savings. If you don't have a savings goal, you are not going to be able to save. In an earlier post, I advocated that we need to get into the practice, once we make our money, to give 10% of it away and to save 15% of it. Your ongoing goal on a monthly basis should be to save 15% of your income and live in 75% of it. That might sound impossible to do, but it's possible if you will aim for it. Now, there's another step to this. Not only do you want to have a 15% monthly savings, but actually, you want to go for an emergency fund before you get into all of this habitual saving. Financial guru Dave Ramsey is great when he speaks about this type of stuff. He says go for an emergency fund. Now, I'm going to advocate that you get 10,000 Rand into an emergency fund as soon as possible. In dollars, you might think $1,000, or if you're in euros, 1,000 euros. Aim for something like that in your emergency fund. This is not something that you spend easily. It's not like you want to go on a date night, so you got to dip into that emergency fund. This is for emergencies. This is for stuff like when you land in hospital. A few years ago, about 2009, I think it was, my wife landed in hospital, and at that time we didn't have insurance at that moment. But we had been saving, and we had a substantial emergency fund. We were able to pay in cash for her hospital visit. What a blessing that was. What a relief to know that we had that emergency fund for a real emergency. Imagine if you had some money set aside for an emergency. The second component to that is you want to try and get that emergency fund up to 3 months of your salary. So if you earn about 20,000 Rand a month, then you want to try and get 60,000 Rand into that emergency fund. That should be your savings goal. And then also the second thing that you want to do to save money is you want to now start paying yourself automatically first. So you pay yourself first automatically. What do I mean by that? Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance." Most people have direct debits that are going off. They know how to pay other people, but they don't know how to pay themselves. You need to learn how to pay yourself first. Whenever I get my money in the bank, first of all, I give 10% away. And then I transfer that 15% into another account that I don't touch easily. And once my emergency fund is up, and it is already, but on a monthly basis, I'm putting that aside. Okay, that's what I do first before I go and pay all my direct debits. Now, you might not be able to put 15% right away, but start with something. aim for something and then try to build up to that 15%. There are seasons in my life when I couldn't do 15%, so I at least did 5%. I did something where I was saving, and then I built back up to 15% as I could do that. A question often comes at this point. People say, well, do I pay my debts off first, or do I try to save first? I want to advocate that you definitely fund your emergency fund first. So you put the money in there first. Get it up to the right amount, 3 months of your salary. Go for that before you pay your debts off. And this is why. Because you're bound, paying your debts off is a process, and it takes a while. And you're bound to hit an emergency before your debts are paid. And then if you don't have that emergency fund, you just go right back into more debt. So get your 10,000 Rand in there, then try to build it 3 months. Once you get there, then you can start paying off your debts. In the meantime, you're going to maintain those debts. You're not going to go in further into debts. And of course, we have a section on debts that you can look into, and I can help you get out of debt. You need to do that, intentionally do that. But pay yourself first, start saving. And then thirdly, what you want to do is set a budget and live by the budget. If you've never learned to budget, this is the time where you need to learn to budget. This is the way to do it. You're going to allocate a certain amount to each area of spending in your life, okay? So there's two things that you need to understand, which is fixed spending and flexible spending, and I'll go into that a little bit in a section on how to spend well. But once you understand the fixed and flexible spending, you allocate into each area how much money. In other words, you know exactly where your money is going and how much is going into each of those areas, whether it's food or health or schooling. You need to decide, you need to figure out how much needs to go to each of those areas, and then you stick by it. And in many cases, you'll be able to shave off some of that spending, and we'll talk about that in the spending section. Now, once you got those areas that you start living by that budget, and by the way, you can go to drewland.org at the Moneyverse place. If you go into the navigator bar and you go into the Moneyverse, you'll see I have a budget there that you can download and some other things, tools that will help you start to save. You start to allocate the money into those things, and then you get strict about it. When my wife and I started doing this, we increased our income by 15% just by learning to budget well. Hopefully that helps. Please subscribe below and start following us on a weekly basis. Go to drewland.org, check some stuff out, follow us on social media. We hope that you are being equipped for a meaningful life.